Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay guys, what is up? Good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, share the stream, the videos with your friends, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you are interested in this AI signal service, check out the Telegram, which I've just linked in the stream there. As the community Telegram for Zentrix, you can find updates regarding the project, a lot more information in that area and in that space as well. But if you are interested in the signals, go to the Telegram, go to the pinned messages at the top, scroll to the bottom, and you should be able to see the pinned message for the AI powered signals service. So if you're interested, head over to the Telegram, go to the pinned messages at the top, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the link there. But guys, welcome back. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone had a good weekend as well. Hope everyone is well rested and ready for the new week ahead. What's up, Rifat? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. What is up? What is up? As always, guys, we've got a bunch of pairs to go through. I'll start with the USD side of things. So take a look at the dollar, the DXY, Euro, Euro USD, Pound USD, the USD majors, gold and silver as well. And if you are interested in any particular markets, do you have any trades going, or you do want to find out my opinion on a particular idea, drop it in the chat, and of course I will be happy to take a look and discuss with you guys. If there is a particular time frame you don't want me to look at, let me know as well. Most of the time I'm on the 4-hour chart, daily chart, but if you do want me to drop a little bit lower or of course scale higher, let me know and I will take a look, of course. I'll go through any trades I'm in as well, and we'll take a look at our Perps trading platform, which I still really want to introduce to you guys, something a little bit new, maybe you guys are not quite used to yet. So I do want to show that to you after I do finish my USD analysis. But let's get started. So in terms of the dollar, we've been pretty bearish. We've been falling since NFP pretty much was the first of August. So price has been pretty bearish, but I am looking for a higher low potentially. And as I've been speaking about for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, this is an area which I'm quite interested for a buy. I said I'm either looking for a strong double bottom at this level as price returns to support, or perhaps a strong break of this counter trend line, or basically this descending channel. At the moment, we kind of don't have neither. Maybe somewhat we're seeing the signs of maybe a double bottom could form, but I'm not seeing anything of conviction, anything of strength, of high levels of momentum, which is really what I'm looking for at this area, because we are still bearish, and for all I know, we could continue falling lower. We don't have to see some upside from this area. So if I want to take a buy, I want to be fairly confident that USD is about to do something like this, and I'm not fairly confident with that idea or that move at the moment. So whether we do get a break of this trend line or maybe a strong rejection at the low here, that's kind of what I'm looking for to invite me into, not necessarily buying the DXY, I don't trade the DXY, but that will show me signs that, okay, the dollar is likely to see some upside against other currencies. So maybe some shorts in Euro, longs in dollar CAD, or maybe some shorts in Pound USD could look good. My favorite USD pair at the moment is Euro USD, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But that's really what I'm waiting for the DXY to give me the green light to actually go and trade the other USD majors. So that's very much the plan. And in terms of targets, I'm looking at this as the initial target, And if things go very, very well, perhaps a push all the way to the swing high at 100.160. That's if you really do see that bullish swing. But for now, this is still bullish territory for me. I'm keeping a very close eye on the buys. If we take a look at Euro USD, which is again pretty much the same analysis, just flipped, we're approaching a nice area of consolidation, which of course gave us this very strong move to the downside. Now price is approaching this ascending channel. Again, I'm looking for the same characteristic, either a really strong double top, which we were seeing some signs of that. You can see price formed a high there, came back to retest it. A nice rejection, not quite enough to get me interested. I want to see a slightly stronger candle or maybe some more wicks to the upside to really show me that, okay, we're really rejecting this area well. Because again, double tops, double bottoms are frequent patterns in the market, but certain characteristics and behaviors will separate really high quality double top and double bottom patterns and lower quality double top and double bottom patterns. And trading is always about quality over quantity. We're not trading crazy patterns. We're not doing anything that's never been done before on the chart. We're doing things that have been done for numerous decades, but we're doing them well. That's the key. That's the key component we're looking at. And double tops are frequent, and as a result, you want to be very picky and choosy of which patterns you trade. This does have the making of a double top. Test the resistance twice. That's essentially what we're looking for. But the rejection is not quite enough for me. So either we come back into the high again, reject it some more, and reject it even better, or perhaps that momentum kicks in and maybe a strong break of the counter trend line. That's kind of what I'm looking for in terms of entries. But same idea as the DXY, looking for a push into this low initially. And if things really get going, a push all the way to the swing low. So that's why I like Euro. I like how corrective we are. It looks like we're slowing down. We're testing a major level of supply. And there's a lot of room to the downside if things really do play out. We're looking at a pretty big drop there for Euro. And of course, at least a push to that support level there. So I'm going to keep a close eye on Euro USD this week. Pound USD, not my favorite USD pair. As I said, Euro definitely is, and by quite some distance. So if I do take a dollar trade this week, it's probably going to be on Euro USD. But equally, Pound USD is still respecting structure. This is our lower high equivalent, which gave us this low. So technically speaking, as long as price doesn't break through this high, I still do retain that bearish bias. I am still pretty bearish on pound, and I do think we can see some more downside, but I wouldn't be so optimistic. This is a pretty big pullback. I was looking at two key levels to short pound USD the past couple of weeks. This level being 1, didn't see much rejection there, and this trend line being 2, saw slight rejection there, but not enough to take a position, and we've broken through both of those confluences. So pound's been pretty strong. I think if we do see some downside, I'll be quite conservative. I think this could be a nice initial target for the trade. Let's see if price can push back into the highs, reject well. Another strong reaction. That could be a nice entry signal. Take it back into this area, maybe back into the lows here. It is a pretty key level. So that could be a nice target for the trade. Of course, if things go very well, there's the possibility of a swing all the way back down there. But again, that's kind of more hoping and guessing. Maybe price does make that move, maybe we don't. A push into these areas a bit more realistic. We can be a bit more confident about those levels. You can always trail stops and see how far the trade goes. But I will be prepared to exit trades if things are not looking too good in these areas. If we're seeing some rejection and looks like some bullish strength is coming back into the market. But for now, the focus is this level at 1.385. Let's see if we can reject it. If we do it well, I think shorts look good. If we do break through, then that's the bearish bias completely over. We've broken structure. Then we'll probably talk about some pullbacks and more upside beyond that. So the focus really now is to see if we can get another clear rejection of the highs and get some shorts off the back of that. And we've got a few targets to aim for. Dollar CAD I quite like. I really like the close we had on the daily chart on Thursday. I think it was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. Thursday last week. Again, this was a pretty critical level I've had my attention on for quite some time now. We've got support over here once, resistance there, and again, potentially acting as support there as well. And of course, a very strong candle close on Thursday. So I'm liking the move back to highs here. I think we can go even further than that, especially if USD does become pretty strong. But as long as price stays above this area, I'm bullish. I'm looking at this being the next higher low. So that's our impulse. That's our pullback, higher low. I'm looking for a push at least back to the prior high. But again, if things go If USD does really gain some strength, then probably looking more so at this area. But for now, at least for this week anyway, we're probably at least discussing a push to 1.386. So going forward with dollar CAD in terms of opportunities, because I don't imagine many of us are looking to take trades on the daily time frame. If you are, I would say that's a nice daily candle. The only problem with it is that you're running into some issues in terms of risk to reward. You got resistance just above you there. You're probably not even looking at a 1-to-1 in 0.65. So I wouldn't really say it's worth the position. Let's say if you're risking $100 on that trade, you're only making 65 back. Again, it's not really an issue in terms of one trade out of many, but if you do that time and time and again, it's going to really impact your risk to reward. So in terms of trying to improve that, I did suggest an opportunity if we come lower, which looks like it might be starting to take shape. If we can pull back into the zone again, possibly see another higher low, I think this could be a smart location to take a trade. And of course, that should really help out in terms of the risk to reward. I think initial targets, yeah, back at resistance here, formed a bit of a double top there. That could be an area of friction. Might want to stay aware of that level. But if we can break through that, could be looking at push back to the high, and that's probably where your 1-to-2s, 1-to-3 risk to reward, maybe even higher, if you can really refine the entry, comes into play. So this is really what I'm looking at for dollar CAD. More upside, hopefully a bit of a pullback to start the week off. And hopefully we finish up the week around 1.386. If we do break through, that's where I do scrap the bias. I don't want to see price do that. If price does break through, that's a big no-no at that point. I might want to rethink my bias there with dollar CAD. In terms of Aussie dollar, I quite like the buys, sells for this one as well. I do think more downside is the likely move. Again, I'm looking at this ascending channel, which we've recently broken out of. Looks like to me that price is really struggling to break back above. If that's the case, then perhaps a move back to this low makes sense. And maybe even further as well. I think at least for this week anyway, a push there is pretty realistic, especially if we can crack support there. So I quite like what I'm seeing in terms of the short idea. In terms of entries, I'm looking more so around here, sort of coming back into this area of supply there, as well as testing some resistance on our left, somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. Left head, right shoulder. I think that'll be a smart place to find an entry. Definitely get some stops above the high, and then perhaps a push back into the low. I think also a nice trade would be, especially if you're a bit more intraday, is waiting for this support level to break. I think if we can break through that support level well, that will be a very strong signal to say that, okay, we probably are going to head to these lows here, so you can find some intraday pullbacks along the way. I think you're looking pretty good on the way back to lows at 0.642. So I'll be pretty bearish with Aussie. I am pretty bearish with Aussie already, but I'll be very, very bearish if support here breaks, especially if you break it well with some nice momentum. And then yeah, a push to the prior low will be my next bet for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar is in similar shape. We're seeing also bearish pressure coming to the market, more so because NZD and Aussie dollar have been pretty weak themselves, not so much that USD's been strong. But we're seeing a similar pattern here. You can kind of see that head and shoulder pattern in play there. Nice area of supply just above us. I feel like if you can come back and retest that, that'll be a nice place for a short, at least for a push back into the low here. Don't necessarily have to look for the home run back into the low, but that makes a bunch of sense to me. You've got prior highs 1, 2, and possibly a third. Somewhat of a trend line coming to play there as well. And again, similar to Aussie dollar, if we can see the break of this low, I think that really does increase the probability of us coming back into the low here. So if you see a strong break of that, especially if you're on an intraday time frame, I think 50-minute and below, looking for pullbacks on the way down, look like a really good opportunity to take advantage of that and a push into the low there. So yeah, pretty bearish for New Zealand dollar. I'll keep an eye on the retest here. This is a bit more of a swing idea. If you're focusing a bit more momentum, I'd see if we can break support there and get a continuation, because we've been very, very corrective in this ascending channel. And of course, we did see a pretty nice break of that last week. So the idea is, can we see the continuation which could take us back to lows. That's simply all I'm looking for. In terms of gold, it's been extra choppy, so yeah, I don't really have too much to say about gold in all honesty. It's not a pair on my watch list this week. A few other markets look a little bit more exciting, but again, I can understand maybe in the lower time frames there will be some volatility, there will be some movements back and forth, which certainly if you're looking for kind of mean reversion opportunities, I do think there can be some nice trading opportunities there for gold. But from a 4-hour perspective, especially from a swing perspective, this is not the best place to be looking for entries. I want to be focusing my efforts at the lows or at the highs. That's the only two places I want to be looking to take trades. And at the moment, we are slap bang in the middle. So we're neither near resistance, neither near support. I can't really do too much right now with gold. So the bias is still the same. Look to buy low, look to sell high. But of course, we need price to be trading at those areas to actually get those opportunities. So until we get there, I'm not really going to say much on gold in terms of what I'm expecting or the next move. Sure, there might be some smaller time frame opportunities, and perhaps we do take a look at the lower time frames later for gold. But on the 4-hour, not much to report on there. And for silver, silver's an interesting one. I mean, I'm still looking to see if we can get a push lower, but at the moment, I'll probably say we're starting to range here as well, back and forth. I'm kind of waiting to see which way silver does pick in terms of direction. If we clear the highs well, then perhaps silver's just going to continue where it left off and continue back to highs. If we do break to the downside, then of course I'm looking for a swing into the low here. And perhaps the big level I talked about on the weekly stroke daily chart could be looking to come into play for a big swing trade. I really like this level for like a long-term buy. Very convincing break. No retest of the level when we did have the breakout. So price would be kind enough to come back and retest the level. I think that would be a really nice place, especially if you're looking for like a long-term swing. That would make a lot of sense there. But at the moment, silver's kind of back and forth at the moment, so I wouldn't really look to do too much in that area until I can see like an established break outside of that. And then, yeah, are we looking at push the highs or push the lows, depending on the direction. So, yeah, that is kind of where I'm at with USD. So, a few opportunities to keep an eye out. Euro USD is definitely my favorite at the moment. But USD, to be honest, hasn't done a lot since we last spoke. It's very, very flat still. What's up, Yusuf? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you. Hope you're doing good as well. What is up, Bashi? Hope you're doing good, my man. Welcome to the stream. Did you stream this morning? Tashi, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Good morning. Can you look at US30 and NAS? Yes, we can take a look at that. No problem. What's up, Rex? Good morning. Hope you're well. I appreciate it, Bashi. Yeah, sure, guys. If you are interested and you enjoying the content, finding it useful, please be sure to drop a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And of course, feel free to engage in the chat, ask questions, give opinions. That is what the chat is for. And thank you, Bashi, for reminding us. Pants on the lower time frame. Yeah. Again, days will come where everything's looking good. And of course, days will come where things are looking quite rusty, and maybe it's best to kind of stay out of the market. And I think that's a really important skill in trading because, trading, there is no one apart from yourself to stop you to take a trade. If you really want to, you can risk your whole account on some random trade right now if you wanted to. So it does take a lot of discipline to say that, okay, the markets are not looking quite optimal right now. It's best for me to sit on my hands. Everyone wants to make a trade. Everyone wants to be in a trade, make profit. Who doesn't? So it does take a bit of discipline to say that, okay, yeah, there's nothing there for the market, so let me sit on my hands. I think that's a big part of trading. Not only understanding when it's the right time to trade, but understanding when yeah, the market price action is not looking great. Let me just sit on my hands, especially on the lower time frames as well. Yusuf, Euro USD and Pound USD. Okay, we'll take a look at that as well. Go through the indices first. First, I want to go through our purpose trading platform. Again, if you haven't seen it yet, I do want to do a quick rundown of that. But afterwards, I will go through some of the crested pairs that you guys have spoken of. And again, if there's any other, drop it in the chat and we'll take a look. But this is our purpose trading platform. Again, slightly newer concept. A lot of people here more aware of trading CFDs, maybe futures as well. I've pretty much traded CFDs throughout all my trading career as well. But perps trading slightly something new. Again, taking advantage of how futures operate to a degree. But the beauty of this, it trades similar to CFDs in terms of the contracts don't expire. You can buy and sell just as you do in CFD and speculate on price. But with futures, of course, you have that set expiry date for the contract you do buy and sell. Whereas this, there is no limit on the contracts you do buy and sell. So it trades similar to CFDs. You're just speculating on price. At the moment on our platform, we only do have cryptocurrencies which you can trade, but we do have a wide range from BTC to some smaller cryptocurrencies you can take a look at. But we are going to incorporate FX, other indices, stocks as well. So do look out for that. But if you do have any Solana or Ethereum wallet and you want to experiment with the platform, you can connect straight away. Click here and you'll be able to connect your wallet. Or if you don't have a wallet, you can also connect via your email as well. So that's pretty useful. But if you do have a Solana or Ethereum wallet, you can connect to the platform straight away and begin trading straight away. And the beautiful thing about this platform and the fact that it's on Solana blockchain and everything's decentralized is that there is no restrictions. So no matter where you are in the world, you can simply hook up to the platform. A big thing about some of the bigger brokers on the centralized exchange is that they're very restricted to certain regions of the globe, whereas this is open to everyone. So that's a huge benefit. And of course, withdrawals are pretty instant. Settlements are done instantly as well, so you don't have to kind of request the withdrawal. Can I take my money back? With this, it's just straight away. There's no one to say yes or no. You request your withdrawal and it happens instantly as well. So if you're interested in the platform, the link to the platform is in the description below. But simply to how pretty much any other trading platform you've probably used, works in a similar way. Market orders, limit orders, take profit, stop loss orders, you can all set and trade straight away. Of course, at the moment only cryptocurrencies, but FX and other markets are coming soon. So do stay tuned for that. So yeah, as I said, I'll go through the indices first, and then we'll take a look at Euro and G on the 15 as well. Each value trade would have been a break even tagged. Fair enough. And then like at 9:40 there was a trade, but I felt mentally tired. Fair enough today, so I'm not trading it. Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do as well, especially low time. I know I keep saying that, but it is very, very true because you have to make those decisions quickly and on time as well, and you have to be fairly fresh and fairly confident with your decisions. You don't want to be kind of mentally clouded making decisions, because not only will your kind of decision could be quite wayward, but also you might not have the conviction to see it through as well. So yeah, if that's the case, market's choppy, a big part of trading is just not taking some really crappy trades, funnily enough, because you could take one good trade and then take 5 bad trades, and that will kind of ruin the one good trade you had. So you might not have even, it doesn't make sense really. You're taking 1 step forward and 5 step back. Sometimes you take 1 step forward, sit on your hands for a while, and then take another step forward. So yeah, trading can be very, very punishable in that way, in that regard. So sitting on the hands is very, very important. Okay, so we'll go through, is it NAS 100 you requested? Okay, yeah, NAS 100 Tashi and US 30. Okay, So yeah, with US 100, so this one has been pretty bullish. Of course, we've seen new all-time highs recently. Now it looks like we're coming into another pullback, very, very corrective channel here on the way down. So it's not like we're seeing heavy selling pressure. Therefore, I'm still pretty bullish on the market, on the 4-hour time frame at least. I do still think we can see some more upside. We are approaching prior resistance, a nice area of demand. I do think this is a smart place to be looking for some buying opportunities. Now, if we were crashing down and see really aggressive momentum, similar to what we had here, then I would be very kind of standoffish, take a back seat and kind of wait to see what the next move will be for the market. But because it's really corrective on the way down, this is a characteristic which I will still associate with the market being bullish, and the likelihood of us seeing continuation is still pretty high, I would say. So there's two ways to go about it here for NAS. You could go for the more aggressive approach, but it gives you a better risk to reward, or you can go for the more conservative approach, which will give you a better win rate in terms of the likeliness of the trade playing out, but the risk to reward won't be as good. So the aggressive approach is trying to pick the lows off this area here, which again is slightly more aggressive because you're getting in before momentum has really confirmed things. But the benefit is you can get a very tight stop loss in this area and take advantage of the full move, so the risk reward is quite big. Or you could wait for price to break through this counter trend line. Of course, your entry will be a little bit later. Maybe your risk reward is not as good, but you can be more assured that price is going to make that move back to the high, and the likelihood of price getting there is a lot higher. Of course, the risk reward won't be as good, so that's the only negative side, but it does keep you out some losing trades. Suggests, if the market was to keep falling, you won't be able to take that loss there. So it's a bit more safer in the approach, but of course it has its negative sides as well. So it depends how you want to operate. If I was to drop on the hourly chart, what I would suggest is keep an eye to see how we reject in this area. If you can start to see some aggressive bullish candles closing, that could be a nice entry signal. Again, this is a more aggressive approach, but you can find some entries here, some stops underneath the low, and then try and take advantage that way. Or of course, you can wait for the breakout and take some entries there. But I do like the rejection we did. Was that not yesterday? Sorry, that was on Friday. So I do like the rejection we saw there. A lot of wicks. Nice closures on the hourly chart. If we could do something similar again, maybe form a bit of a double bottom, that could develop into a nice entry. So the bias is still very much bullish for NAS. That is still very, very much the main case. So it just depends how you want to work it. Do you want to find some entries here? Of course, wait for some evidence of rejection, which is not quite here yet, or wait to see if we can get momentum clearing the highs. But nonetheless, targets will be a push back to the high, and then we'll go from there. I do think NAS is still probably due another drop like this. We are still quite corrective, and of course, since we have taken out all-time highs, sooner or later, price will go through something like this. So I wouldn't be so optimistic with the buys and look for a home run. Of course, our trail stops. You never know how far we could go, but equally, be prepared for a bigger pullback. I still think that's on the cards, maybe in the next few days. In terms of US 30, this one pretty bullish as well, but we are testing a pretty major level of resistance, so I would be quite cautious about the buys, and especially with that candle closure on Friday, was it? Yeah, Friday. Yeah, that's not a great candle closure for the buyers, I must say. So of course you can see this is a very significant level of resistance, initially over there, over there, over there, and now it looks like we are having another tough time trying to break through resistance again. So going forward with US 30, I'll be very watchful of this level. If we were to break through, I think that would be a really nice opportunity, because if we were to see a clean break of this level, that really shows us, okay, the buyers have arrived, and simply our job would just be looking for pullbacks and riding that momentum on the way up. So that becomes a pretty kind of straightforward opportunity to follow. At the moment, that is not the case. So you can take some shorts up here. It's more of an aggressive trade just because of the market we're trading. If this was like FX, I actually wouldn't mind this, but because indices, because it's US 30, I do expect us to sooner or later break through this area. But we're not to know. Maybe price could have one more sell-off again, before we do that. So that is definitely a possibility. So I don't mind the shorts from here. You've seen a lot of rejection. I would say it's more an aggressive trade, but it's a trade where there is a lot of room to the downside for us to work with. So I don't mind the shorts here for US 30. I do think it's more an aggressive position, but it does make sense. And again, in terms of targets, I'd probably keep an eye on these areas. That's definitely level of support there. Of course, the price swing low. These could be areas where you bank profits or maybe trail stops. It's up to you how you want to manage it. But the only opportunity that makes sense here is definitely looking to short. Buys don't make sense at all until we actually do get that strong break through the high to convince us that, okay, this level is of no more and resistance is not holding. Then, of course, that becomes support. And that could be a really nice place for a big swing trade as well. So until we see a strong break of the highs, then we can talk about the buys again. There might be even some nice lower time frame buys at these areas to keep an eye. But in terms of where we're trading right now, shorts make the most sense. We are seeing some nice rejection, especially with the daily close on Friday. And I do think there's some room to the downside there. So yeah, I would be pretty bearish for US 30, which is a bit of a contradiction to my analysis on NAS, but it's the only setup that makes sense. And of course, you can stay away. If you're not really a fan of looking to short the indices, especially at the highs, which me, myself, is not really a fan of either, you can always just stay put. If you do have that bullish bias, either wait for the breakout and look for pullbacks afterwards, or maybe some intraday opportunities at these areas could look good as well. So you would wait for price to get there. But at the moment, the only thing that does make sense is definitely some shorts at the high. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the indices. What's up, Dimar? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, of course. Yeah, split second decision exactly. So you got to be on your game. Oh, really? Mystic was, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and of course, that's a part of the game as well. You will miss some trades. Some trades will happen quickly. Maybe you would, getting a drink of water, or even you just didn't spot it in time as well. But again, you don't need to take every trade. That's the beautiful thing about it. Sure, you're going to miss some trades here and there, but you don't need to take every trade. There's more than enough opportunities, especially on the 1 minute chart. So yeah, some trades you will miss. It's all a part of the game. Can you explain the CRL model? I don't know what that is, Rifat. I don't know what the CRL model is. Dre Huntley, hope you're doing good. Welcome. And again, there's a million ways to trade the market. There's so many models, so many this and that. In terms of how to trade, I don't know every single way to trade. I only know the way I trade, and that's what I focus my efforts in. I don't look to trade every single method. So CRL, maybe some nice method to trade, but I've never heard of it. Never really looked into it. Okay, let me go through Euro USD and Pound USD on the 15th for Yusuf. So Euro USD 15 minute, let us see. Actually clear the chart first. Okay, so we had a bit of a rally. Now price is looking a little bit bearish at the moment. Is this a lower high? Could be. It could very well be. I mean, the main thing I'm seeing from a 15-minute chart is that this uptrend looks like it's running out of steam, which is a sign we could be getting ready for something like that. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on from a 4-hour perspective, but the 15-minute is also showing the same signs. This is not really a comfortable or a healthy trend anymore. Yes, we are technically bullish, seeing these high lows, but we are running out of steam, even with the fact that we're forming lower highs. Even if we do push back to the high, it's still very corrective, and I'll be expecting us to come right back down again. So the clear takeaway is that we're running out of steam here. Doesn't necessarily help with finding a clear-cut trade and clear-cut entry, I would say, but it's a sign that perhaps we could be seeing some more selling pressure come into play. I think if you were to drop right down to the low time frames, like 5 minute, maybe even lower than that, 3-minute chart, even 1 minute if you're really up for the task. I like this area for a sell. We put some lower highs in, uno, dos, tres, and we've had a really nice consolidation. Broke support very violently with that really bearish candle. So I would suggest if price was to come back and retest that area, there's a good likelihood we do see some more downside from that same area, similar to kind of what we had here. Nice consolidation there. We've got these lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4, you could say, bit of consolidation, broke through pretty aggressively to the downside, cleared support out the way, came back for the retest, nice continuation. Kind of the same pattern there as well, lower highs, nice brief consolidation, cleared support. If you can pull back for a retest, I do think we'll see some downside. Now, I wouldn't look for like a crazy move, and this was a pretty big drop. I probably wouldn't look for as big of that. Not that we can't do that, it's just that we are at a kind of a lower high here, whereas this was fresh high, so it gave us a bit more juice to the downside. Maybe we do push these lows, but I wouldn't necessarily bank on that happening. I would suggest if you can drop to like a 5-minute chart, take some shorts here, a push to the low here would make a lot of sense, and then we'll go from there. Maybe we do end up here, maybe we turn bullish off that low, but I do like this as an opportunity at 1.169. Again, this is a bit more like a 5-minute idea. I probably wouldn't take trades in the 15, but if you could see some healthy rejection on the 5-minute, I think that could be a smart place for a short. But yeah, it does look like we're running out of steam, I must say. It does look like this is starting to run out of steam. Perhaps the selling pressure could kick in and maybe some more downsides. I wouldn't say we're quite there yet, but I'm seeing signs of that possibly happening. And of course, if you look to our left, we are trading a really massive area of supply, on the 4-hour chart. Brief consolidation, really aggressive drop, which gave us this bearish swing. We are, testing that area at the moment, so that's another reason why we could see some selling pressure kick in. So yeah, I do favor a bit more downside there for euro, and I think that's a nice setup there on the 5-minute to keep an eye out. But for a bigger swing, I need a bit more information. Maybe a nice kind of break of structure or something like that. Then we can plot the next lower high, and that could be a nice little swing on the 50-minute chart to take. But we're probably still like a day away from that at least, or maybe 2. In terms of pound USD, again, I can start fresh. So in terms of pound USD, we are quite bullish in terms of the recent momentum. Of course, we're testing some highs here, which we're having trouble to break through at the moment. So I wouldn't be bullish now because, number one, the trends continue for quite a while, and the biggest reason we are testing this high here. So that doesn't give me a lot of confidence to keep buying the market. Sure, if we were to go and break through it well, then yeah, I would be still bullish and looking for pullbacks and upside. The plan would just be kind of find the next higher low somewhere, and then we take some buys off the back of that. And that does depend on us breaking through the high well. Of course, we don't have that yet. So I'm very much in a kind of a pause mindset with pound. We're at major resistance. I'm kind of boxing this off as a big consolidation, really, because I'm not a big fan of the price action here. It's very kind of lackluster. There's not a lot of momentum in the market right now. I know it's not really a consolidation, but it's giving me consolidation characteristics, and I wouldn't want to be jumping into some entries unless I was right down on like a 1-minute chart. There might be some pullbacks to test and some opportunities in that regard. But in terms of the 15, very, very flat price action. Yes, a pretty strong drop here, but we've been pretty flat of that. In terms of shorts for pound, what I would suggest, let's see if we get a nice continuation and a strong break to the downside. So basically, impulse, this turns into a big correction really, and then we get another impulse down. Well, I quite like the shorts here. Let's say if we were to pull back, retest support, I think that could be a really nice trade to take, later in the week. And that could be a nice opportunity to really kickstart the sell. So I would suggest keep an eye on that. Of course, a lot needs to happen. We need to see a strong down move. We need to break structure as well. But that would be very nice for some shorts. And again, like I said, if we were to continue the buys, I do want to see price break through this level well. And then that shows me, okay, the buys are still in control. We're still breaking resistance. Momentum looks good. The likelihood is that we pull back and continue. So I can see price doing both things, in all honesty. I wouldn't necessarily say favoring one opportunity over the other. What I would say is that we're really flat here, so I'm not seeing any opportunity in the middle, at least on the 15-minute chart, that is. But if we can break lower well, That does make me pretty bearish at that point. Looks like resistance is holding, and maybe somewhat we do see a reversal. Or if price does break high as well, like I said, we're bullish again and looking for continuation. In terms of an opportunity right now, though, I think Euro looks a lot better, especially with that 5 minute. I know we're looking really bearish right now. I mean, we could double bottom and push up, so that would be nice. But that looks good. But yeah, pound, I'm not liking what we're seeing right now. I would say we're quite flat. But should we see momentum up or down? Sure, I think there's an opportunity there. M1 King. Yeah, I could never be. Way too fast for me. FH, pound USD, what? Yeah, we'll take, I mean, I kind of just went through pound there. Let me know if there's a particular time frame you want me to take a look at for pound USD. Rifat, okay, gold, we can take a look as well. 15 or hourly, okay, we can take a look at that as well, no problem. What's up, Jay? It has been a minute. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing good. Hope you had a good weekend. Good to see you on the stream, though. Okay, so we can go through gold. I can take a look at that hourly or the 15 as well. I'll go intraday, but I'm not a big fan of gold, to be honest. Yes, we can take a look. Pound USD 4 hour. Okay, let me take a look at pound USD 4 hour since I'm here. Then I'll go through gold. But yeah, pound on the 4 hour chart. So pound is basically testing structure right now, and it's at a make or break territory, because if you read the market structure on the 4 hour, you had the swing high, swing low, swing high there, and of course there's your lovely swing low. So if we are gonna continue this bearish structure, we really do need to respect this area and start to see some selling pressure off this level. So this is actually a smart place for a short. It's actually a smart place for a short. But I would like to see some stronger signs of rejection before jumping in. Perhaps we push back into the highs again, form somewhat of a double top, and get a strong bearish engulfing candle there. I think that would be a nice situation. Nice entry, stops above the high. Then, as I mentioned earlier, this could be a nice initial target for the trade. And then maybe a push back into the low here could be a nice second target for the trade. So I'm liking what I'm seeing with pound USD in that regard. Basically the fact that we are respecting the high, but in terms of entries, I need a bit more. If of course we do break to the upside, then that puts an end to the bearish structure. That lower high has been broken. Now I'm looking for pullbacks, higher lows, and more upside off the back of that as well. So yeah, pound USD, it really depends what we do at this level. In terms of my bias, we break through, I'm bullish, we hold, I'm bearish. So I'm just waiting for more kind of development in that more development, because I want to see stronger signs of rejection to back up the entries to actually take a short, or of course let's just break through and then we'll speak about the buys afterwards. But if you do get a nice sell, these are the two levels I'm looking at, 1.346, and of course this is a pretty significant level here at 1.337, so that would be a nice target. And of course if things go very well, there is a possibility we do get back down there too, so maybe you can look at trading some stops and seeing how far we can get to. But yeah, that is what I'm seeing there for pound USD on the 4H. In terms of gold, yeah, gold is a bit all over the place really. So on the 4 hour perspective for gold, I basically said looking to buy a low or sell high. Those are the only two opportunities I really do see with gold, because at the end of the day, it is a range. So if I'm going to trade a range, I want to make sure that I'm up at the top of it, or at the bottom, looking for opportunities on the reversal. So those are the only two opportunities I see for gold on the 4 hour, especially if you're looking for swing trading opportunities. In terms of where we're trading, because we're in the middle of the range, this is where the most fluctuation, the most chaos, indecision you'll see is in these areas. So I try to stay away from these areas in particular. On the lower time frames, you can get away with it, especially if you're looking for short-term trades, because you're not trying to stay in a trade for a long period of time, so you don't get caught up in the chaos. You take a move and then run sort of situation. That makes sense there. That does make sense for gold. So as I suggested last week, if you're looking for opportunities, I would suggest buys around the lows here makes sense, or maybe some shorts back at the high here. We've kind of got a miniature range within the larger range to a degree. But I like the way prices respect to the lows here. We've seen pretty aggressive reactions, so I would suggest if we were to get there again and see another reaction, that could justify a nice entry. But again, I'll keep it short and sweet. If we get a push back to areas like here, I think I'll be very watchful of the trade. If I see some red flags, rejection, maybe looks like price is about to put a lower high in, I'm prepared to get out the trade early. Equally for the shorts, I think this is a smart place for a sell. A lot of rejection here previously. If we get there again, struggle, I think that would be a nice place for a short as well. So again, when conditions are quite chaotic, quite choppy, you don't really want to be looking for opportunities favoring momentum. You actually want to be looking for opportunities that go against momentum, because that's the nature of the market. We tend to push up, come back down, push down, go back up. We're not seeing trending behaviors. We're not seeing momentum being sustained. So you don't want to really be looking to follow momentum, especially inside the middle of the range, because that's where the most chaos will be. So you really want to pick lows and pick highs, and this is a fairly significant high, at least on the hourly chart, to keep an eye on. If you can see some healthy rejection there, I think shorts make sense, and likewise with the lows here as well. So that's kind of how I'd operate there for gold. I'm not really seeing much opportunities other than that. Like I said, any kind of trend following opportunities almost non-existent right now. So yeah, not my favorite pair, but that's the best I can see. Okay, take care, Bashi. Have a good one, my man. Have a good walk. Okay, where was I? Yusuf, kind of hoping and looking for bearish GBP. I'm currently break even on GJ. Okay. So you're short on pound yen. We can take a look at that. No problem. FH, happy to help. Yusuf, UJ, GJ on the 15. Yes, we can take a look. No problem. Nice little conversation there. Is that Lesserlie? Hope I'm saying the name correctly. Euro USD, we can take a look at that one as well. First, let's go through dollar yen and GJ on the 15 minutes. So, yeah, dollar yen especially has been quite choppy, at least for the past week or two. You can see in the 4-hour time frame that we haven't really gone anywhere since we had the big drop, and I think that was off NFP, wasn't it? Yeah, 1st of August. So we haven't gone anywhere since NFP. We had this really aggressive move down, and we've been completely flat since then. So again, looking to buy low and sell high is really the plan when you're in these conditions. Follow momentum, not really the best thing to do. Not to say that you can't do that. It's all probabilities at the end of the day, but it's the more optimal thing to do. Now, dollar yen has been in a slight uptrend for the past few weeks, as we can see here to a degree. And I'm still looking at that uptrend continuing. I spoke last week about a couple of areas where I did like the longs from. This area being 1 and this area being 2. Now, we did come back and respect the first area last week, Thursday. Had a nice reaction off that. And I did say if price was to break through, then of course I'll keep an eye on this area. But of course we're not there yet. So we just keep this level in the back of our minds for now. So in terms of an opportunity on the 4-hour chart, I'll take a look at the 15 in a moment. I'm still very much liking this opportunity. Let's see if we push back into the lows again, maybe form a bit of a double bottom. I think that's a smart place for a buy, and we'll go from there. I think if things work out pretty well, there's a possibility we do see a swing all the way back up to highs there at 150.8, or maybe at least a push back to here at 149. But I would say I'm bullish on dollar yen. I'm looking for buying opportunities, whether from this area or that area. That's from a 4-hour point of view. In terms of the 15-minute chart, I'm not seeing much, to be honest. Very choppy conditions. I would suggest now that we're coming into the middle of the range, which again is where the most noise will be. I would say if we can push lower, even back to the lows here, I think this could be a smart place for a buy. I'm not necessarily suggesting we get there, but if we do, that's really where I want to find opportunities. or let's say if we push back into highs, that's kind of really where I want to position myself short. So yeah, dollar yen, I'm not seeing much on the 15. This is very chaotic price action. Like I said, I don't want to follow momentum when we're in these conditions. Typically doesn't play out too well. I'd rather look to buy low and sell high. That's where the best opportunities normally lie in these conditions. So if we can push back into 146 roughly, or push into 148, I think those are sensible places for some buys and sells respectively. At the moment though, we're kind of messing around in the middle. This is where the most noise will be, and again, sometimes or most of the time, you're going to find it difficult. You're going to find it difficult to have a nice place for a stop loss, and you'll see price kind of look to wick you out more often in those areas than when you're kind of operating at the lows or the highs. So not a big fan of what I'm seeing with dollar yen. Really, don't have much of an opportunity to go through in this area. But should we push to lows or should we push to highs? I think we've got more of an opportunity there. And from a 4-hour perspective, that's what I'm looking at. Okay, so we'll go through pound yen next, and then we'll take a look at Euro USD. MJ, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're well. Can we go through oil? Yep, we can go through oil as well. Savvy, pound Aussie. Yes, we can go through that one as well. I do have a position open actually on pound Aussie. So, yeah, we can take a look at that one. First, let's take a look at GJ. And Yusuf said he's got a short position on GJ from the top of the range. Okay, nice. I mean, essentially, we have just been back and forth here. Again, a lot of markets ranging at this moment in time. I mean, just starting to notice that now. A lot of markets quite flat. But yeah, GJ push back into highs again. Nice reaction off the high and a push down. And again, that's the thing with ranges as well. You can't necessarily guarantee that price will make a move to the low as well. Which is why I always say keep an eye on the 50% of a range. I mean, this is not your textbook range, but I would suggest we are quite flat. So 50% here is always a nice area to keep in mind. Let me just mark it on the chart. You can always just drag a fib as well to help with accuracy. But the 50% is always a nice place to keep in mind, whether you're looking at trading a stop loss, taking a small partial off the table, or even just an outright target as well, because you can be fairly confident that if price does reject the high or if price does reject the low, you can be fairly confident that price does get at least to the 50%. It might not see the full swing to the other side of the range, but the 50% you can be quite confident with. And in this case, we more or less did that as well. We got a nice test there as well. So again, in terms of reducing risk or taking partials, I would recommend one or the other since we have got there. But it's a nice reaction off the high. And again, if I was in that trade, I would be looking for a push to roughly the 198.8 area. You know, at least coming back into this kind of area here. So that's where my main target for the trade would be. Maybe I could even look for a push lower. But if I'm seeing rejection here, yeah, I would probably close the trade there. I'm not too sure where your targets are for that short position, Yusuf, but that's kind of where I'll be looking at. So yeah, I think at this point in time, especially when you're break even, it's kind of just now a lottery. Maybe price will continue in your favor and hit your targets. Maybe price won't and it will go back against you. There's not much more to do. Again, when you do take a trade, you want to manage that trade, but price at the end of the day will have the final say whether it does continue for you or it doesn't, as long as you're making the right decisions in terms of going to break even when you're supposed to, you know, taking profits off when you're supposed to. That's all you can do essentially. So at this moment in time, I'm guessing entry somewhere around here and you've gone break even there. Yeah, now it's up to it's up to the market to see if it will continue or not. And if it does go against you, you walk away for the break even. Possibly there might be a re-entry, so keep an eye out for that. Some people get stopped at break even and just forget about the idea. Sometimes price just might want to have a second test before it gets going, so keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, it's up to GJ to now continue, and hopefully it does. But yeah, we are quite flat right now. I think GJ is in just equilibrium. It's trying to find out which direction wants to move in next. I'm still not too sure. I'm kind of waiting to see if we break the lows here well or break the highs. And that will kind of make up my buys for the remainder of the week. At the moment, we're kind of 50-50. We are testing major resistance. So at the moment, price is doing a pretty good job at respecting that. But until we kind of break free out of this range in the 4-hour chart, you know, I'm not too sure about the main move for the week. If we clear highs here, yeah, I'm pretty bullish. And then we can talk about pullbacks and longs. If we break the lows here, well, we can talk about shorts and some pullbacks and some shorts there. So that's kind of where I am in terms of the bigger swing trade for GJ. We'll take a look at Euro USD next, which is probably my favorite pair at the moment to hopefully get into a position. I'm looking for some shorts here for Euro. Just clearing the lower time frame analysis, but this is essentially what I'm looking at for Euro USD. We've hopped into a nice area of supply, really aggressive move down. So that, of course, is giving us our bearish structure: high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Now the plan is, can we find the next lower high for perhaps another push to the low? So that's all we're looking for here for Euro USD. Nothing particularly crazy. And there's a rough trend line connecting the highs here as well. So first test, second test, there's your third test. Now I'm looking to see if price can give us a nice strong close, breaking through that ascending channel, and that could take us back into the lows here. Hopefully, but of course I do have some other targets initially at 1.157. That to me looks like a sensible target to have as well. So I'm pretty bearish here with Euro USD. I'm liking what I'm seeing. What I like about Euro as well is how corrective we are on the way up. If price was just charging to the upside like this, that would be a big red flag. I probably wouldn't be looking for shorts actually in that case. But because we did have an initial really strong push, but we did become quite corrective since then, that's showing me a big difference. That's showing me a big change in characteristics. And it shows that we are slowing down and we are looking quite tired. So the odds of us actually putting a lower high here are pretty high, at least for a push down into this support. Maybe we push here and then we make a move higher later on. I wouldn't say we're guaranteed to make a push all the way here, but I do favor some downside. So in terms of an entry for Euro, I'm actually seeing if we can get a break of the counter trend line. If we can get a strong close below that counter trend line, that for me would be a really nice entry. Or even if we can test the resistance a third time and see a stronger reaction, because I was debating an entry on that bearish candle, but it wasn't quite big enough for me. I want to see a bit more aggression with the candle, maybe some more wicks to the upside would have been nice as well to really indicate that we are really struggling at that area. So I'm kind of waiting to see if momentum can pick up, and that would be my entry to get involved, and then target 1, target 2, or if we do return to resistance and reject again. That's kind of what I'm waiting for in terms of actually taking a trade there for Euro and actually getting short. Okay, so next we'll take a look at oil, and then we'll go through pound Aussie. So oil I'm pretty bearish on as well. We have cleared significant support and resistance, and that has really set the tone. As you can see, resistance previously, once support there again, and we are trading below that. So in my book, I do favor push down to 55-ish for oil. Now in terms of shorts, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, because I would argue that we are looking quite corrective here, kind of moving in a bit of a descending channel, which doesn't give me a lot of confidence to be shorting. Again, when I'm shorting a market, I want to short a market which is healthy. And by healthy, I mean there's a lot of momentum in the market. I'm seeing strong bearish candles going lower. That gives me confidence to say that, okay, if we do pull back, there's a good chance we continue to go lower. If things are looking very corrective like they are right now, that means the trend is quite tight, and perhaps we could see a lot more upside off the back of that. So even despite the fact that we've broken through such a significant level, because we are quite tired and that's just the behavior of the market right now, that does make me cautious about taking some shorts. So what I do want to see for oil is that momentum to come back in, some strength with the bears. If we could see that happen, that'll show to me that, okay, we are healthy, the trend is here, the bears are still very much in control, and if I can take a break and retest somewhere, that would do the job in terms of actually finding some entries to take a short. But at the moment, we're quite corrective, and I'm being very watchful that we don't do something like this, because if that does happen, well, that would very much change my analysis going into the rest of the week. I'll be more so focused on a retest and some more buying opportunities. So it's very important that we do pick up the pace and we do start to see some healthy trending bearish behavior, which at the moment we're kind of starved off at the moment. We're very, very corrective. So a key break lower is kind of what I'm looking for. And in terms of targets, if we do get the short opportunity, it would be a push all the way back to 55. So it's not a situation where we need to find an entry now. I do think there's a lot of opportunity on the table. So yeah, if we can pick up some momentum, then cool. I think there could be some nice shorts there to take. In terms of pound Aussie, so that's the only position I'm in at the moment. I'm nursing this trade at the moment, just managing it along the way. I did find an entry not last week, the week before Thursday, so going back to the 7th of August. Nice entry there. Maybe a little bit late for my liking in terms of the risk reward, but it was a really strong entry in terms of the break of this consolidation. Again, nothing crazy with the trade. All I'm doing is trading this range, essentially, just buying at the low, targeting the high. So nothing particularly crazy with the trade. Nice entry on the breakout. We did come back for a retest and then price continued. And I have trailed my stops to this line here. This is where my initial stop loss was for the trade, but my new trailed stop loss is here just underneath that low, because there's no point in terms of, seeing this momentum in my favor and then, holding all the way to potentially take a losing trade. If price does start to turn over now, it's a strong sign to tell me that I should get out of the position, because the momentum I'm originally banking on is not here anymore. So at the moment, pound Aussie is looking pretty good. I do think there's a good chance we do make it back to highs. If you want to find a trade for pound Aussie now, I do think some entries on a retest of the structure makes sense. I would keep it short and sweet though, because let's not forget that we are in the range and things can get quite chaotic. Let's not forget how choppy we were back over here as well. So I wouldn't be looking for something like this, although that could be the case. I'll be looking for something like this, a push into support and just a push back to highs. That's where I probably lock in most of my gains. And then I might trail a small amount to see if we do make that move, because I want to be prepared for this to happen and for noise to happen, because that's what tends to happen in a range. If this was like in a larger trend where we're just kind of seeing momentum on higher time frames, then sure, I would be more confident for that, but that's not the case, unfortunately. But in terms of like a lower time frame opportunity, I think this makes a lot of sense here. I quite like the level, solid resistance a couple times, strong break with that 4 hour close. If price can pull back there, and I quite like how we're pulling back. It's really corrective as well, which tells me that this is most likely going to be a pullback, and we probably will continue higher. So yeah, I think a retest of that area makes sense for a buy, especially if we can drop like an hourly chart, maybe even a little bit low as well, and then targets back to the high makes sense, and then maybe leave positions to trail to see if we can get back to resistance. But I'm in a long position looking for that move. I've trailed stops there anyway, so risk is pretty minimal in the trade now, and we'll see how far we can go from there. But yeah, pound Aussie, I'm pretty bullish. I do expect more upside for that currency pair. Okay, so we'll take a look at the DAX for Wilhelm. We can take a look at the DAX next. Stress relief, don't forget to check gold while repeating why you're not interested in it for the 50th time. Yeah, stress. I'll probably be doing that for a few more days, because I'm going to keep saying that until the market is broken out of that range. But that's a good point. I probably am sounding a bit like a parrot. Alan, Kajian since last week. Okay, nice. Yeah, Kajian has been on a bit of a downtrend. I do think we can see some more downside for Kajian as well. I'm actually interested in some shorts for that one. If we can continue to break lower, but we're kind of having a bit of a tough time at support. But I will go through that one as well. No problem. Yusuf, happy to help. What's up, Kingsley? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. Yes, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Please touch on USDR and Eurozar. Okay, we can take a look at those pairs as well. Euro Aussie, the bonus pair. Yeah, I'm still looking for buys in Euro Aussie, but we've had a pretty aggressive pullback, so I need to watch out for that one. But let me go through the DAX. So I'll get to Euro Aussie after a few pairs that have been requested. Of course, if you do have any pairs you want me to take a look at, put it in the chat. and I shall get to it at some point. But yeah, the DAX is an interesting pair. We've been consolidating for a while. Of course, we've got the prior swing high. Yeah, that's the all-time high at 24,644. So there's kind of two opportunities I'm looking at for the DAX. Not yesterday. Last week, we talked about some buys here, which actually played out pretty well. Lovely retest there. We broke out of that descending channel and price continued to the upside pretty well. Now we've had a bit of a bearish reaction as we approach some resistance here, but that doesn't really change my bias. I'm still pretty bullish. I'm still looking for us to go and take out these highs here. So there's two opportunities I'm looking at the moment. The first one is a bit more aggressive. It's looking for the retest of this area of demand. And the second one is basically us just coming back into the same level of support again and looking for some entries off the back of that. So I'm pretty bullish on the DAX. I do think we can see a bounce from this area if we were to get back there again. I think that would be the best entry in terms of an entry at the lows, stop loss underneath this area. That allows you to really take advantage of a big swing should it play out. Of course, similar to what happened over here. But we've seen a pretty impressive move, some nice momentum's coming to play. And if the market is going to reverse from here, I think that's still a sensible place for a buy as well. What I would suggest is that we do need to see some really strong rejection here before jumping into a buy, because this was a pretty aggressive shift, pretty aggressive bearish move, a really strong close on the 4-hour chart as well. So that's why I would be quite cautious with this level. Unless I see some really heavy rejection down, like some nice wicks and a strong close, then yeah, I could take some longs off the back of that. Otherwise, it might mean that we do come lower, and this is the opportunity we discuss in more detail as price approaches that level. But at the moment, we haven't broken through, so this is definitely an area of focus. But as I mentioned, we need to see some strong rejection. At the moment, we are quite flat. We're actually getting some wicks to the upside, which is not really a good sign. We want wicks to the downside into this level. So yeah, we are trading at an area of interest right now, but no signs really backing up the trade. So that's a key component to focus on. And if it doesn't play out, then yeah, this will be the next level, just around 24K. But I am bullish on the DAX. I do think more upside is likely. I'm looking at the higher time frames. I am looking at this as a higher low for that high, and this is a new higher low, potentially for a new high. So I'm basically looking at the market doing something like this. So I am still pretty bullish on the DAX, even though we are seeing a bit of downside over the past day or two. So yeah, keep an eye on both areas, and yeah, pretty much the same target, 24,644. Excuse me. In terms of CAD Yen, so CAD Yen, I quite like this to the downside. Reason being, number one, we've got a nice break of this counter trend line, so that's our first kind of confluence for some shorts. I mean, you could probably essentially say that we've been in a bit of a channel there. It looks like price is breaking to the downside. So if that's the case, there could be a lot of downside on the cards for CAD Yen. You know, if this is potentially going to be another lower high compared to these highs here, perhaps we do go through a bit of a bearish trend back to lows. So there could actually be a pretty big move on the cards here for CAD Yen if we really do mean business. But I would still say that we're kind of consolidating here. So the reason why I'm not quite short yet on CAD Yen is because I do want to see a more established break to the downside to really confirm to me that, okay, this uptrend's of no more, the bears already stepped in, and now I'm looking for some pullbacks for some continuations. So that is really the plan there for CAD Yen. If I was to see a break like this outside that range, that really just gives me the green light to be looking to short the market. Because I wouldn't be too surprised, in all honesty, to see maybe this happen. You know, recover the trend line. Because trend lines are not necessarily perfect. Neither is support and resistance. Sometimes price will break a trend line slightly to recover it. So even though, yes, we've technically broken through the trend line, it's not like a massive breakout. It's not like price has seen a lot of momentum and cleared the trend line by a lot of distance. It's almost kind of quite a corrective break there, and we could see price close back above. So until we really get the continuation I'm looking for, kind of just being a bit more neutral on CAD Yen, I'm leaning towards the bearish side of things because, of course, we have broken the trend line. I'm not ignoring that fact, but I just want to see a bit more momentum. So if I can drop to the 4-hour chart, all I want to see for CAD Yen is a continuation lower and then perhaps a retest of the range. So the focus will shift to support, find a retest, maybe even a lower high like so. There's one over there, a second, perhaps a third, and then we'll be on our way. And then the next big target would be the price swing low at 104.890. So that's essentially what I'm looking for CAD Yen. More downside, but this momentum here, this break lower is pretty key, because I can see a world where we start to respect support and maybe even turn bullish again. This here will give me the green light to say that trend is probably of no more, and we're probably going to start forming a bearish one. And yeah, pullbacks, retest makes sense, and this will be the first target. So that's where I'm at for CAD Yen. Of course, you said you're short for CAD Yen since last week, so I imagine short around here maybe, looking pretty good. But I think, again, for your trade to really get going as well, do you need to clear that support? I think if that happens, you're looking really, really good. If it doesn't, maybe we do turn to the upside, so be a bit cautious at that level. But nonetheless, I'm looking for some more downside for CAD Yen as well. We'll go through the two USD-ZAR and Euro-ZAR pairs, and then we'll take a look at Euro-Aussie. What's up, CS Integrated? Hope you're well. Welcome to the streamer, man. Hope you're doing good. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. Like I said, it does help promote the content and helps get the channel out there a bit more. So if you are interested, you are enjoying the content, show some love, and of course share it with your friends and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But what is up, CS Integrated? What do I think of dollar yen? Okay, we can have a look at that. Pull another low before the next leg up, or holding and might be bullish. Dollar yen is a little bit kind of choppy. It's almost like it's having a miniature consolidation, but I will go through that for you. I am quite bullish on dollar yen at the moment, but it's not a pair on my watch list actually, so I'm not the biggest fan of the price action. The only USD pair which I'm looking to trade at the moment is Euro USD, but we can take a look at it. And Raphael, oil longs on the hourly chart. Okay, we can have a look at that one too. But first, I'm gonna go through the ZAR currency pairs. So USD ZAR, this one has been fairly interesting. We did see a pretty big up move recently. To me, that looks like a pullback though. I'm still looking for a move all the way back there. We've had a really big rejection at the highs, 19.61, really aggressive rejection at the high there. I do expect us to come back and test support. The way I see it, we've kind of had this up move and a bit of a relief from this bearish move. It was quite tired. Looks to me that we kind of had a retest of support here, turn resistance. So support, we broke through, retested that resistance a couple of times, especially with that wick a few weeks ago. I do think eventually we'll see price bleed and test the lows here. Of course, at the moment, we are testing support, so I wouldn't suggest short straight away, because this is definitely a meaningful level of support, and we could still bounce to the upside again, but I do think it's short term. So if I was looking to trade USD-ZAR, my mindset, my long-term mindset would be looking to short this one, so I would be very much waiting to see if we can break through support here, look for some pullback opportunities and get some shorts off the back of that. It would be very nice to see if I can short the retest of this level, because it has operated as support very, very well. There's a good chance it does act as a resistance. But I also would keep an eye out for the buyers, because I can definitely see this as a really strong level of support. And if price was to potentially consolidate here, maybe give me a strong close, I do actually like the buyers here, just to kind of see how far I can take it. Maybe it's going to be a short-term trade. Maybe it's back into resistance. I don't know. But I quite like the idea of buying here. It's a very effective level of support. Maybe we still do see a swing to the upside. So it's kind of similar to my pound Aussie trade, because my pound Aussie, I was pretty bearish as well. I was actually waiting for price to break lower here. But of course, we had a lot of consolidation, a lot of rejection. We didn't get that. Then we got a strong close to the upside. So although I was actually waiting for price to break support, it didn't happen. So I said, okay, let me take advantage of the buy opportunity here, because this is clearly a bullish signal. So I'm taking advantage of the buys to see if I can ride it back to resistance. And we'll go from there. You know, a big part of trading is being able to adapt to what the market's giving you. You might have a bearish or a bullish bias, but that might not be the case. Maybe the market does something else. Even though I'm expecting us to get to the low here, maybe price does go through one more bounce to the upside. Therefore, you don't really want to ignore the buys completely. After all, we are testing very convincing support at the moment. So I would suggest to keep an eye for some buying opportunities, especially if we were to maybe get a strong close outside of this. I think that would be a nice opportunity for a buy and hopefully a swing higher. But yeah, if we do break support, that's really the move I'm looking for, to be honest. And then we can hopefully take some retests. And 17.1 is where I do see the market heading towards. So I'll keep an eye on both opportunities in both directions. I think they both could probably give you some nice swings. And in terms of Eurozar, Eurozar not as clean, I would say. Bit of a consolidation there. Of course, testing the low of the consolidation at the moment. I do think for this one as well, if I go to the weekly chart, yeah, this one as well, quite interesting. Of course, it is a bullish trend, but we are really failing at highs right now. Even retesting the high there as well. So I do think there is a drop to be had here. Not because I'm necessarily bearish on the pair, but because we're having these kind of stabs higher, which is a sign that the market is tiring. Yes, the market overall is bullish and still likely to continue higher. But based on how we've operated, we had a really aggressive move up, came back down pretty aggressively as well, and now we're stuck at some resistance here. I do think we can at least see a bit of a drop, even if it is just at least back to the low here. I think we can probably go a bit further, maybe attack some areas of demand here. But I do fancy a bit of a drop, and then maybe we get some buying opportunities shortly afterwards. But yeah, I do expect us to break lower for Eurozar as well. So we do kind of find ourselves in the same situation as USDZAR2. We're back at support, which effectively is a nice place for a buy. I actually like that as an entry, to be honest. This candle, which closed, that was on Friday. I actually like that as an entry because we had a lot of consolidation here. And then price closed quite confidently above. That's a nice entry for me. Stops below the low. And yeah, let's see how far we can take it. If price does give us the break to the downside, then again, similar to USDZAR, we're looking for a pullback. This has proven to be a very solid level of support. Once, twice, a third time, even a fourth time. So if we can get a retest, that'll be a smart place for a short as well. And you got clear targets back at the low, at least here, which is around 20.15. So both Eurozar and USDZAR are giving us similar opportunities, both testing some key levels of support right now, which buys do make sense of. But if price was to break through, keep an eye on the retest as well. Okay, so hopefully that made sense on those pairs. Okay, so we'll take a look at Euro Aussie next, and we'll go through dollar yen, oil as well. Tocolo, I hope I'm saying that correctly. What is up? In a Kajin sell, what are your thoughts? Okay, we'll go through that. I mean, I just actually looked at Kajin about 10 minutes ago, so if you scroll back, I mean, I'll go through it very quickly, but if you want a more detailed analysis, scroll about 10 minutes back, and you'll see a more detailed analysis, but I'll quickly go through it again. Yusuf, okay, no problem. Got to go sleep now. Okay, no worries, my man. Hope you have a great sleep, I guess. Savvy, Euro Yen, yes, we can add that to the list as well. For some reason I thought, oh no, after waking midnight, can go back to sleep since then. Okay, sorry to hear. Hopefully you feel better, Yusuf, and a speedy recovery. Okay, so Euro Aussie and then dollar yen. But yeah, get better soon, Yusuf. So yeah, Euro Aussie, I'm looking for buys on this one, but we've been pretty aggressive on the retracement, which not really what I want to see. But the key component of Euro Aussie longs is us staying above support, really. Of course, prior resistance here, rejection, rejection, then we cleared above. So today's candle is coming back, excuse me, to retest that level. And the goal is a swing back to resistance. So it's very important that today's candle, which of course is the bearish candle here, does stay above support. We don't want to see price close below. I mean, even if price does close below, it's not the worst thing in the world because it actually can provide some nice shorts on the way down. But in terms of a bullish bias, in terms of the breakout, we want price to stay above. So now that price is pulling back into that area, this is where we want to be looking for opportunities for a buy. So I want to be seeing some rejection, some strong candle closures like this, convincing us that momentum is still with the buyers. That will be a nice entry signal, stops below the low, and then your targets there around 1.809, which of course is the high on your left. So just simply looking for a break and retest, nothing too crazy, because essentially we've had a consolidation here for Euro Aussie, and it looks to us that maybe we've got the breakout on our hands, especially that we've got the daily candle closure to back up as well. It makes a lot of sense. But of course, if today's candle was to close below, well, that then turns into a big fake out. Then I'll be looking for a retest, for some shorts, back into the low here, at the very least back into that low. So despite the direction, despite us closing back within the range or not, there will be an opportunity with a short and an opportunity with a long as well. It just depends which way we close, which is the opportunity we follow. At the moment, we're looking for buyers to kick in and for a rejection at that support level. At the moment, not quite seeing that. We had a pretty strong close of the last 4-hour candle. So I do need to see some really strong bullish momentum creeping back in to reconfirm that this support is holding. So that is really what the focus will be throughout the day. But if we were to bleed and then close back in by the end of the day, then yeah, I will look to switch the bias around and perhaps focus on the shorts. And then, as I said, that'll be the first target, and then that'll be the second target at the low. So yeah, Euro Aussie make or break level at the moment. I mean, we were always anticipating the retest, the pullback. Now that we've got that, now it's up to the price to kind of show us that, okay, momentum is coming back in, we're holding support, or if we're not, and we're breaking back in, and we'll go from there. But yeah, definitely keep an eye for some longs there for Euro Aussie as well. Okay, so we'll go take a look at dollar yen next, CAD yen, euro yen. Okay, we'll go through a bunch of yen pairs. Did your microphone switch? Let me check. Okay, yeah, it looks like it has. Okay, hopefully that is okay. So yeah, let me know if the audio sounds better. It looks like it did switch to my computer audio rather than my mic. Here, background sounds now. Your microphone went out. Sounds like you. Yeah. So it looks like it did switch to my computer mic, but I've switched it back. So yeah, let me know if it's better now. Apologies for that. Okay, it's better. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sage Trader. Thank you, Cease Integrated. I don't know how that happened, to be honest. But yeah, apologies for that, guys. Hopefully the audio wasn't too bad. Anywho, we'll get through some pairs. So dollar yen, euro yen, CAD yen. We'll take a brief look at oil on the hourly chart as well. And of course, if any of you guys have any other requests, please be sure to drop it in the chat and we'll take a look. But thanks for letting me know about the mic though. So yeah, dollar yen, an interesting one. I am bullish on this one. I am looking for upside back to highs here at 150.8. It's not a pair on my watch list, so it's not like it's an opportunity which I'm gunning for. I've only got about 5 pairs on my watch list at the moment, so I don't have a lot going. And I'd say Euro USD looks the best out of them all at the moment. That could change as the week progresses, but that's really where my focus is right now. But I am somewhat bullish on dollar yen, primarily because we do have somewhat of this bullish trend at play. It's a very light bullish trend, but we are fairly consistent with these higher highs and higher lows. And very much the plan is look and try and catch that next higher low for another swing. At the moment, we are quite choppy. In terms of the fact we have just been ranging for the past week or two. We had the really aggressive drop from NFP and we've been flat ever since. So in terms of opportunities for dollar yen, I'm not really seeing much here, apart from the longs of these areas. If price can make a move into this area, I think that would be a smart place for a buy. Equally so into this level here, nice area of demand, really aggressive reaction. I would suggest we'll like to see a bounce there. And of course, this is the low which gave us the high, so I quite like the buys here. We did test this area last week. It did give a pretty nice reaction there as well. I do think we can see a continuation off the back of that. But I would want price to be in that area so I can get some stops here or get some stops here. I would also suggest if price was to break resistance, that could be interesting as well for dollar yen, especially a strong break. If that was to happen, then yeah, I'll be looking at something like that happening for dollar yen as well. But yeah, cease integrated, your question was, do we get another move down or does price push up from here? Was that the question? We'll pull another low before the next leg up or holding might be bullish. I mean, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I would say that we are quite corrective on the way up here. So let's drop to the hourly chart. So I can see a world where we do push down first before going up, really. But I wouldn't necessarily bank on it because it is quite choppy. It is consolidation at the end of the day, so I don't want to read too much into the price action there. But if I had to pick, I would say, yeah, I do think we can see a push down first before going up. But yeah, dollar yen, these are the two areas really where my focus would be if I was looking to trade this pair. And if we do break to the upside here, then I think that becomes actually a really nice opportunity. And then of course targets back to the high. But I am quite bullish with this one, at least for now. Longer term, I do think we are actually going to sink lower. But for now, I quite like the buys. In terms of oil longs on the hourly chart, only short term I can back. Longer term longs, I'm not quite there yet, mainly because price is broken through such a key level of support. You've got resistance there once, you've got support there again, price has cleared that level. Now, it's not the strongest breakout in the world, it's actually very, very corrective breakout, so it's a very sluggish one. We've been bearish for quite a while since the high there, and it looks like we're kind of running out of steam. So I can see the logic behind the buys, especially the fact that we're forming a lot of wicks to the downside, so it shows we don't have a lot of conviction lower. So a push up, I do think, is on the cards. But again, I would keep it pretty short term. There is a pretty significant level of resistance floating above our heads here. So on the hourly chart, I would probably want to see another push into the low just in terms of stop loss placement and then take some buys off that. Because if I get a stop loss here, I would feel a little bit vulnerable because I could see price potentially taking out my stop to go and test the low here. And then if, of course, I was to take a buy here and have a stop there, my risk reward would be pretty skewed as well. So in terms of dollar yen buys on the hourly chart, I would wait for another push down just to get to the extremes of the move. Wait for rejection at this area, then take some buys off the back of that. Yeah, that would be an important outlook of the trade. I wouldn't take some buys now. And then, yeah, in terms of targets, I'll be very watchful of it because we are still putting lower highs in. I probably wouldn't try and take it past resistance there, though, because I'll be very, very much worried that we'll do something like that shortly afterwards. So dollar yen buys I can get behind short term, though. Not dollar yen buys, sorry. Oil buys I can get behind short term. But long term, because we are below resistance, I am very much looking at this move here. As long as we stay below, of course. I am looking at that. So long term, I'll be a bit careful of that idea. In terms of the CAD yen sells, like I mentioned, I'll go over this one briefly. If you want the more detailed analysis, probably go back maybe about 15-20 minutes. You'll see the analysis to that. But the idea of what I'm looking for is a sustained break to the downside, another lower low. We had a high over there, of course, a low here, a lower high. Looking at the next lower low, and then the plan will be to trade the next lower high, and hopefully off the retest of support here. Really strong support there, looking for that to turn into resistance. We've also got a nice trend line helping us out. First high, second high. Hopefully we can find a third one, and that could take us back into these lows around 105, we can call it. So CAD yen, I'm pretty bearish. I'm looking at the higher time frames. It's been a very corrective move to the upside, which again is not the characteristic of a complete reversal. Things are very corrective. Most of the time you can expect us to break lower. We're seeing signs of that happening already. I wouldn't say we're seeing convincing signs. It's not like price has really bled to the downside and seen a really strong breakout, which is why I want to see a bit more downside. But we are getting signs of that happening. But because it's not very aggressive, it's not very convincing in terms of the breakout, I can see a world where potentially we do close back above and we start trading back above the trend line. So if I can see this move happen, that'll really put the ball in the bearish side of things and really tell me that, okay, this bearish structure is coming into play. The bullish structure is most likely ended. If I can find a lower high, most likely I can take advantage of a continuation lower. So I'm pretty bearish on CAD yen. That's the opportunity I'm keeping an eye on. At the moment, I'm kind of dancing at support, so I'm kind of just staying back. But if we were to see a strong break, that gives me the green light to actually start selling. Okay, so next we'll go through Euro yen and then Swiss yen as well. Scroll back suggested for the CAD yen. I'm happy about your thoughts. Cool. If you're still keen on doing it again, it's fine. But over your analysis was well detailed. Okay, cool. No problem. Happy to help. Jam, I'm bullish on UJ. Join the club. I'm bullish as well. I'm pretty bullish on USD as well. I'm bullish on the DXY. Not really seeing signs of that coming into play just yet. But I quite like, because we are very corrective on the way down. We're testing this area of demand here, which originally gave us this bullish move here. So I quite like where we're trading. I quite like how we're trading as well. I just need to see that kind of momentum come into play, whether we get a strong close breaking the descending channel. That could be a nice entry in itself, something like this, stops below the low, then hopefully some swings back to the high. Of course, I'm not trading the DXY. I'd actually be looking at the short on Euro. Ooh. I just typed DXY again, didn't I? I'll be actually looking at the short on Euro in a similar format to something like that. So yeah, I'm banking on some strength on the DXY. Not quite here yet. Still waiting for a little bit more momentum to really kind of say that, okay, now's the time to go. There is still a world where we do continue to bleed and see more downside. In fact, if price does break structure here, then I'll put my bullish bias aside and say, okay, the sales are taking control, and perhaps the trend on the higher time frames has still got some momentum to give. But yeah, I am looking at longs in that area. No problem, cease integrated. There are 3 possible scenarios, as you mentioned. I'll wait and see. Yeah, again, that's all trading is at the end of the day. A lot of people think trading is more about predicting. I would argue trading is more about reacting. There's many times where I predict a bias. It's completely wrong. I still take advantage of a winning trade because I just reacted to the opportunity the market gave me. Pound Aussie is a good example of that. I was pretty bearish on the pair, but I didn't see the bearish move happen. So I actually took the buys. I think that's a big part of trading. It's not necessarily about predicting and getting things right. It's more so just trading what the market's giving you at the time. So yeah, I'll keep a close eye on dollar yen. It's not on my watch list at the moment, so I'm not too focused on the pair, but that was my analysis coming into the week. Swiss yen we'll take a look at next. Pavinator, my man, welcome to the stream. Happy Monday. Hope you're well. How are your trades? How are your trades coming? Well, I'm only in Pound Aussie at the moment. It's moving pretty well. It's going for a bit of a pullback at the moment, so keeping a watchful eye of that pullback. I do have my stops trailed just underneath my entry. So there is still a little bit of risk in the position, but it is pretty minimal. My original stop loss was there, so I have kind of trailed it here. But yeah, really nice momentum in my favor. Pullbacks looks pretty corrective, so it looks like the buys are still very much in control of the market. I'm still banking on a push to resistance there, so it's looking okay. I mean, it's not the biggest trade in the world. The original risk reward was 1.58, so it's nothing insane. I'm actually hoping to see if I can leave positions to run to the high there, if we do catch a breakout. But I'll be very much, ready to close the trade at resistance if I'm seeing some rejection. But we'll cross that bridge when we cross the bridge. But at the moment, that's the only position I'm in. DXY has been going up and down. Yeah, I'm hoping for a strong turn in the DXY. Join the club. I'm looking at the same scenario. So that my Aussie dollar. Okay, yeah, I remember you were shorting Aussie last week, weren't you? Currently at 0.65205, looking to get out at 0.62 or 63. Currently up 10 buckaroos. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at Aussie as well. First, let me take a look at Swiss yen. That's been requested a couple times. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the dollar as well, kind of waiting for some strength to kick in. I actually need to go through the news for the week to see what we got going. But Swiss yen's an interesting one. I actually like this from both sides of the market, buys and sells. I quite like both the ideas because at the moment we've just got a range here. And unless you're intraday, I'm very much waiting for the breakout of this range. Of course, if you're intraday, you might find some nice opportunities to short the highs and buy the lows. Maybe if you're like on an hourly chart or a 15-minute chart. Maybe even below that, you might find some decent risk reward opportunities off the highs and off the lows. So I would recommend that. It makes sense looking to pick some lows and pick some highs. But if you're waiting for momentum, some break opportunities, I quite like the buys. Let's say if we see a strong break clearing the highs, my targets for that idea would be a push back to 185, which is basically the high of the trend. Let's not forget not pound Aussie. Swiss yen is in a very comfortable uptrend at the moment. Yes, we're at all-time highs, and yes, we're kind of stretched. I do think we'll go through a deep pullback at some stage, but at the moment, the trend is still very bullish. The market's still attacking higher. If we were to close strongly outside this range to the upside, I would guess that we'll probably see a swing back to resistance. So, yeah, if we were to break resistance, I quite like the buys on a retest. Even the buys on the breakout potentially might not be the best in terms of risk to reward, but it does make sense. So I quite like that as an opportunity for Swiss yen. And likewise to the downside, if we were to break and clear lows really well, I think shorts make sense for continuation lower. Like I said, the market is still quite stretched. We've had a really aggressive bullish move here, creating all-time highs. I do think we do need a bit of a breather. So I can see price going a lot lower, at least to come back and retest some structure here and possibly even some structure back here as well. So there are opportunities for us to go a lot lower, but it is resting upon which way we break out. So at the moment for Swiss yen, I'm kind of 50-50. We're in a range, we're in the middle of the range as well. So unless we kind of get the breakout, I'm not looking to do too much. Of course, like I said, there could be some opportunities intraday, retesting the highs, retesting the lows. But if you're waiting for momentum, you're waiting for a breakout, that's really what you're waiting for, and you've got targets either side. So let's see what Swiss yen does have in store. Of course, the yen's going to play a huge role in this, if the yen's going to be weak or strong. I don't think the yen's kind of sorted itself out yet either. So yeah, kind of waiting for either or for Swiss yen. But at the moment, very, very flat, and let's wait for the breakout. Hopefully at some point during the week, we'll get the answers to that. Okay, so next up, we'll go through Aussie dollar full pavinator. If I've missed out a pair, let me know. I don't think I have, but if that's the case. Yeah, if that's the case, just drop it in the chat and I'll take a look. But yeah, we'll go through Aussie dollar. I remember you said you were in a short position, 0.652, looking for a push to 0.62 or 0.63. I'm looking at a similar idea for Aussie dollar as well. just haven't really seen the conviction. I think Aussie's probably going to be waiting for USD to become strong, because Aussie actually has been a bit weak, which has actually helped us, or helped you. I'm not an Aussie short. Actually, no, it has helped me because I'm buying pound Aussie, so yeah, it has helped me. But Aussie's actually been a bit weak, so so it has seen some nice downside in the past few days, but US dollar just hasn't been strong, so we haven't really seen that kind of follow through we're looking for. But what I will say about Aussie dollar on the higher time frames is that we've been in a very ascending, very corrective ascending channel here. And again, typically when price is in this type of behavior and in this type of pattern, you're expecting price to bleed and see a lot more downside. Typically, the more corrective we are, normally the bigger kind of breakout we have. And we did see a pretty convincing break here. We start to pull back kind of immediately after the breakout. And it looks like price is retesting the low of the channel and seeing pretty healthy rejection of it. So I'm liking the opportunity for more downside here for Aussie, at least to push into that low. But I do think we can go further. I'm looking around at least 0.635. I know your target's 0.63, 0.62, which are pretty big targets though. My biggest advice would just be manage the trade as you go along, because there's a lot of room between where your entry is and to where your targets are. You know, price could move 50% of the way and then go back against you. You know, you did well to catch this move, so you don't want to be in a situation where you caught a decent swing and then all those profits go bye-bye just because price does put a high low in, which can happen at any stage. Especially when you do have big targets, 0.63, 0.62, you're looking for a fairly decent move here. I would say there for Aussie dollar. So maybe trail stops or have some partial areas where you can look to secure some gains along the way. When you are having these bigger targets. But yeah, I'm looking at a similar move there for Aussie dollar as well. I really like the rejection. I mentioned earlier in the stream, if we can break support there, I think that would be the real big catalyst to get us going, because this is looking like somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. I think the break of support there tells us that, okay, the bears are in charge. We'll most likely end up at these lows, and then we'll go from there. But that's at least my target for this week. So yeah, hopefully we do see some more downside. I'm looking for the same move, to be honest. So hopefully we can, and again, I think it does rest upon the DXY, because Aussie is somewhat weak at the moment. It's just USD isn't strong really, or it's a bit of a mixture, to be honest. It's a little bit strong this morning, but not much. Euro USD, okay, Saeed, we can take a look at that. How about pound CAD, Euro CAD at all-time highs? They're not quite at all-time highs. They are at some major highs though. But yeah, we can take a look at pound CAD and Euro CAD for you. No problem, Dre. Happy to help. Aussie yen, we'll add that to the list. Yeah, Aussie has been a bit weak, so that's helped out the position. But USD is our main guy. If US dollar does find its strength, then yeah, the trade's going to get going. Angie, Euro yen, okay, we can have a look at that as well. I'll kick off on the trail stop as soon as it breaks support. Okay, fair enough, because last time I trailed too close. Okay, yeah, of course. I'm not saying necessarily trail now, because I think your entry's around here somewhere, isn't it? So we're not too far from the entry. I'm just talking about in terms of when price starts really gets going, especially a clear support here. I'll say that's the time to kind of start to move position in your favor. And if you do get trailed out too quickly, if you do get stopped out too quickly, don't be afraid for a re-entry as well, especially if you're looking at big swings. You know, yes, you might not get an entry similar to the original entry you had, but if you do get taken out early, don't be afraid to get back in, because yeah, you don't want to be in a situation where you just get tagged out slightly and then the big move happens. You know, be prepared to re-enter if that's the case. But I know exactly what you mean. I would wait for at least support to break before starting to manage the trade. You don't want to manage it too early. So yeah, I do definitely understand that. Anyway, so in terms of Euro USD, I've gone through this a bunch of times, so if you do scroll back, you'll see a more detailed analysis, but I'm just going to quickly sum up what I'm looking at. Price is back at a nice area of supply, testing a nice trend line, first test, second test, looking at the third, basically looking at somewhat of a double top here, and in terms of entries, I'm kind of waiting to see if we can break out of this ascending channel. A strong close outside of that would be enough for an entry for me. Stops above the high. Initial target back at this low here around 1.157. But the main target will be down here at the lows at 1.14. So that's really where I see euro heading towards this week. Again, this really does depend on US dollar being strong. DXY is in a similar situation, to be honest. Just kind of inverted. Nice descending channel coming back into a strong area of demand. Strong break of this channel should give us some nice buys and possibly maybe a push to the highs there as well, which of course should help us with that Euro USD bias. So yeah, pretty bearish, just waiting for momentum to really come in play. Not quite yet. And of course, if price does break high and takes out this high, I will back away from the short bias. But for now, that's not the case. So still keeping an eye for some sells. Next, we'll take a look at Aussie yen, and then we can go through Euro yen as well. Yeah, we need some Trump news. Need Trump to tweet something probably. So in terms of Aussie yen, this one has been a bit of an interesting one. We've seen numerous lower highs, 1, 2, 3, potentially 4. I wouldn't say it's confirmed yet because of course we haven't seen a new low, but somewhat that looks like a lower high to me. Now I'm actually still pretty bullish Aussie yen longer term. I'm looking at this market structure here. We've gone from making lower lows to now higher lows, and I'm looking at this as a correction for us to see some more upside. It is quite corrective as well. It's not like we've seen really convincing momentum on the way down. It's not like we've had a huge sell. It's been quite slow, quite grindy. So I do think this is most likely a pullback for us to continue higher. This is the last major higher low for this high. So basically just looking at a pullback of that leg. You've got the 50, 0.618. You've got a nice consolidation to our left there. This is really where I do see price pushing towards. There may be some buys from here could develop into a very nice swing trade. So drop into the 4-hour chart. In terms of the buying opportunities, I kind of want to see us continue lower, start to reject around these areas, and then look for some buys. That's kind of where I'm at with Aussie yen. At the moment, I don't see much to do here. Like I said, we've got these lower highs here. Maybe if price was to push back into resistance again and reject it, maybe you might find a short off the back of that. But that's the best I can see. The buys for me looks like a really nice swing opportunity and coming into a nice area of confluence, and I like the way we're moving. So that's really my focus there for Aussie yen in terms of the longs. In terms of Euro yen, it's been a bit messy Euro yen. I'm quite bullish on this one still. I'm still looking for a push back to 175, which is the highs here. So in my opinion, there's still a lot of room to the upside. This has been quite choppy. You can almost say we're kind of in a bit of a range here. In fact, we are in a bit of a range here for Euro yen. I did say last week, if we can clear the highs here well, there could be some buys on a retest back to this level and so on and so forth. We did see a breakout, but it was really corrective. It didn't really have much momentum behind it. And of course, we got a strong break to the downside. So that was kind of a bit of a red flag for the buys anyway. But if we can redeem that again and probably see a more impulsive breakout, a cleaner breakout, I do think the buys are very much back on and seeing a push to the high, mainly because I'm looking at this as being the next higher low. We've had a really big swing to the upside. This looks like the pullback to me. I'm looking at this as being the next higher low for us to continue higher. And of course, that will be the next target. And then you got 175 beyond that as well. So really for for Euro yen, I want to see price clearly break the highs again and then talk about some pullbacks afterwards. It is quite a messy chart, so it does kind of rely on momentum really. And we are kind of still stuck at resistance, so we're not quite clear yet. But especially if we can take out this high, break well, pullbacks after, I think make a lot of sense. I'm not really interested in shorting Euro yen at the moment. Pound NZD, we can take a look at gold as well. We'll have a look at Mikkel. So yeah, Pound NZD is actually a pair which I really like this week. I'm keeping a close eye on this pair at the moment, mainly because we had a really nice breakout last week. So this is the consolidation we've been in. Price has been back and forth in that area. And of course, on Thursday last week, we saw a really nice close above that. So this looks like the breakout to me. As long as price doesn't close back within this range, I'm looking for a retest of this area for price to continue higher. And of course, the next major target is a push back to highs at 2.30780. So just a simple break and retest and trading the market to the next level. Nothing really complicated. So as I drop to the 4-hour chart, the main thing we want to see is price respect this area. Rejection, wicks, bullish engulfing candles. We want to be seeing all of that type of behavior at this area. We do not want to see price do this. If that happens, this becomes a big fake out. And then we start talking about some shorts. We're back inside the range and then push to the lows. So if that happens, my bias does switch pretty much automatically. But for now, we're coming back down. Let's see what we can do at support probably in the next couple of days. And if things look good, at least the buy back to the high. That's of course got to be the first target. But then if things go well, we're looking at the next daily zone there, which we just mentioned on the daily chart. Entries in this area, and then more upside. So pretty straightforward analysis here with pound NZD. And that all stems from a very nice close on the daily chart, breaking through significant resistance. If we stay above, the buys are on. And I think we can see a lot more upside. Okay, so we'll take a look at gold next. Quickly go through BTC as well. DXY momentum will pick up during the New York session, hopefully. I mean, I expect it to do that and pick up some momentum during its session. But again, which way will that momentum pick up? Will it be for the bears, for the bulls? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, hopefully the New York session can provide some movement. Recently, I've not used any stop loss and just trail my take profit to secure greens. Okay, interesting. Cease integrated. I'm always a big fan of using a stop loss. Of course, it does have its drawbacks. Nothing's always positive in trading. But since really the beginning of my trading career, I've always used stop losses, and I use to this day as well. I think it just helps, especially as a swing trader, where I could take a trade, go other places, not really check charts for a while. It does help the mind stay calm. But yeah, it's different strokes for different folks. Okay, I'll go through gold quickly. DJ, I think you ignore my message of old subscriber. Am I ignoring your messages? You just requested pound NZD, didn't you? And I went through it. I mean, apologies if I am ignoring your message. It's definitely not on purpose. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I went through. I mean, literally it's on the screen right now. But apologies if I am ignoring your message. There's a lot of messages, and sometimes it does take me a minute to get to your message and your analysis. And sometimes I will forget as well if I lose track. So I do apologize if that is the case. Anyway, in terms of gold, we are consolidating. So I've just been basically having the same analysis for gold for quite some time. Again, just looking to sell at the high, looking to buy at the low. That's all I'm interested. In the middle is where all the noise is. I'm not really interested with the price action there for gold. I've been saying this for the past month easily for gold, so it probably sounds a little bit like a broken record, but gold hasn't changed. So I'm going to have the same tune until gold does something different, really. So yeah, just waiting for price to approach the lows, 32.60 and 34.30. Those are the two levels I'm interested in. If price can get to either of them, that's where I'll be happy to take some trades. But in the middle, that's just no man's land for me. Again, lower time frames, there might be some opportunities there, but strictly 4 hours, especially for a swing bias, I want price to be up at the highs and at the lows. So yeah, not much to report on for gold, unfortunately. But anyway, guys, we have approached the end of the stream. I will be live again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. If I did miss a message, I do apologize. Hopefully I will get through it tomorrow. But again, if I do miss a message, just drop it down in the comments again, and I'll get to it. But yeah, I will be live again 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. as usual tomorrow morning. So if you are interested in analysis, want to see some updates, If I do get into any other positions, I'll let you guys know as well. If you did enjoy what you saw today, drop a like, does really help out. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future, and of course share it with your friends as well. If you do want to support the channel further, join the membership to the channel. Below you see the join button, you can click that to support the channel further. There's more content there, members only videos, members only posts, early access to videos, and a lot more as well. So check it out if you are interested. And if you are interested in the Zenthrix community, I did drop the link to the Telegram, but I'll do it again. You can check out the project, find more updates there, and join the community as well. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I hope to catch you all tomorrow.
Introducing Zenthrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zenthrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zenthrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.